Welcome back to the Beyond the Bestseller podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Schuknecht, and today's guest is Hilda Fainsod, author of Power Up. And your subtitle is The Executive Roadmap to Transforming Life and Business. So I'm actually super excited to talk about this book as a fairly new business owner. So welcome, Hilda. And I'd love to start out by just having you tell us a little bit about your book in your own words and why you wrote it.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. And I love to talk about my book. It's some of the things that I'm proud of in my life. I'm from Mexico City, and I decided to go global, and maybe a way to do that was writing a book in English because I love the language. And finally I decided to do that. And I tried to find what are pain points in top executives. And after that, I realized in everyone there are some need of changes and challenges, and we get in our own way, and it's so difficult to try to change and to do a long-lasting transformation. So that was a great subject to cover in my book, and I decided to talk about that because we are not so aware of how much we need to do in order to change. And we think, well, today I'm so motivated so I can deal with the diet or the delegation process or my organization or my agenda. Today I can do that because I feel this strength in myself. And that's not true. Motivation helps, but it's not the one that is going to take you where you want to be. So I talk about change and the difficulties and inertia and what happens with old habits and how to decide what do you want to change and how to keep going and to sustain and to remove the barriers until you really transform yourself. That's the book about.
Nice. So you mentioned that motivation isn't the key, and I'm sure your book helps people understand what is the key. But I don't know. I guess what do you is it like more of like being committed to that change, being what are the key components to changing, and what are the things that we need to change? Like, how do you identify what you need to change that's holding you back?
Yeah, I can answer in different ways. First of all, I love the quote that says motivation comes after, or inspiration comes after action. You need to move. And when you move, and feel better, and you achieve a little bit, and you go a milestone further, you begin to feel this inspiration. But if we sit and wait until motivation will appear, we are not going to achieve much in life. So that is a way. Another one is to question yourself. Who do you want to become? What kind of leader do I want to be? If I want to leave a print of myself in life, how can I get there? If I want a different future, what would that be? So the first is having a conversation with yourself. And that, Kelly, needs to be often, because we don't want the same when we are younger than older. And we want different stuff in different seasons in life.
Sure.
So at our 40s is not the same when we are in our 60s and plus. So that question needs to be present in our life, in our mind and heart. And when we define that, it's not a matter of a goal. And I love James Clear when he talks about that. Because a goal is to run a 10K, a marathon, a half marathon. That is a goal. But after you cover that goal, and it's not that this is not important. No, I love challenges and I put myself into some goals. But sometimes you mark the goal because you complete it, and the next day you never ever appear in the gym. So it's not only a matter of putting yourself into some goals. It's to create the person you want to be, to create your identity. It's not the same to run than to be a healthy person. So to be a healthy person is a long-term commitment. It's every day in my life. And that means that as a healthy person, I need to exercise and I need to eat healthy and I need to be fit and I need some stuff. So I put myself into goals. But it's because my identity is a healthy, fit person. So that is a bigger purpose in life.
Yeah.
Goals you cover and you forget about them. And the best thing to move is to have a meaningful purpose of what or who do you want to become.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned James Clear. So for people who aren't aware, James Clear is the author of Atomic Habits, which is a fantastic book. Love to have James Clear on. However, I only feature women, so he doesn't get to be on this podcast. But no, that is a really great book, especially if you're struggling in any way with developing better habits in your life. So you talk about a little bit about kind of his philosophy there and identifying who you want to become. And then he helps with kind of helps you overcome some of the challenges that hold you back from accomplishing those things that you want to do. So just wanted to mention that for anyone who's not familiar with James Clear. So when you talk about executives, tell me about who is that target audience for your book? Who are those executives that you're talking about? Is that in the corporate world? Is that business owners? Like, say more about kind of who this book really speaks to.
Yeah, you said it. There are top executives in the corporate world. There are solopreneurs, leaders, but everyone that wants to change, understand what gets in the way and how to remove it to achieve long-lasting results are my target.
Sure.
But my focus in career are top executives, leaders, and solopreneurs.
Sure. Okay. And what are some of the things that those folks maybe struggle with when it comes to that transformation? Like, I want to say accomplishing their goals, but we just talked about it's not the goals part of it, but that accomplishing that change in their life that they feel like they need, like they're identifying something, right, that needs to change. So what holds them back from that typically?
Okay, to sustain, as simple as that, and as complex as that. We decide something, and we begin to move, and suddenly we stop. And we stop because life gets in the way, or I put myself in the way, and I don't know how to remove my barriers, my saboteurs, and I stop doing. So the answer is, how can I keep going and sustain until it's part of my lifestyle?
Sure. So So you talked about kind of the like what holds them back. What are some of the ways you help people identify that not just having, I would imagine that your book, as it talks to executives, they probably are high performing
Oh, yeah.
individuals who have maybe a lot of goals. They're driven. They got to be at the executive level because they are a certain way, right? But how do you get them out of the mindset of having the goals and focus on who they want to become?
Yeah, I love hyperachievers, an ambitious person. I love them because they want something and they pursue. But what stops them is a matter of first awareness. It's to understand why I said I'm going to accomplish this and that, and I didn't do. Why I do have, again, an excuse or an explanation for that. Why I try, but something stops me. I can say it's because I'm in budget times, or I'm so busy, or I have a trouble, so many meetings, and so many explanations. In the business world, we talk about results. So explanations are not results. And I talk about results and also well-being, because only focus on results and hyperachievers focus on results can drain yourself and your team. So it's a way of how do I achieve results and how can I change that to also feel this fulfilling life. Not only the pressure, the tiredness, and to be so stressed that we have neurofatigue. So first of all is awareness, and after that is to realize that we have automatic patterns, that we have a survival brain that stop us and prevent us from change. So we can trick our brain with small, short, tiny activities to allow ourselves to flow instead of thinking so big, and I love big goals, but thinking so big that something stops me in the minute. And I do have executives that they say, I want this and that. Oh gosh, can I accomplish that? The doubt and the fear and the stress appears. So we need to listen our inner voice and identify what is going to tell us and decide how to stop that voice, because it's not going to allow us to thrive. And we want to thrive and to achieve and to become better and stronger. So we need to listen and to stop and to move into a different brain connection. And I teach that also, to allow to listen to the other voice, the one that will take you to explore and navigate and create possibilities and decide and move with your better resources, personal resources.
Sure.
So not from stress, and usually we work from stress. And I'm a great example. I can feel in the morning here this anxiety to achieve something and to complete and to finish the presentation and to have everything ready for a team or whatever. So I know my stress response is with me my whole life. But now I can, okay, identify. There are 3 C's, catch, cancel, and correct. And I can do that. I can catch what's happening to me, and I can cancel with a different message in my head, and I can create a different answer. So not from stress, more from a creativity process,
Sure.
more from possibilities.
Sure. So you mentioned, the, like thinking of it like I want to be a healthy person, right? And not saying, I mean, goals aren't all bad, but like, it's not just like I'm going to run a marathon, I'm going to be healthy forever, because it has to be a constant commitment, not just, a one-time goal, right? But how do you teach people to like consistently come back to that thing? Because I started my own business, but before that I was in the corporate environment where I would tell myself like I wanted to eat healthy, to exercise regularly, whatever. And I would have those times where I would do that for a while, and then I'd be traveling for work back to back weeks, right? And I'm in the airport and I'm like, whatever, just whatever I can find to eat, I would eat. And I had a really hard time trying to work out when I was traveling. And then I'd come back from that. I'd kind of get back on track, but it was just a constant struggle because I was using those explanations or those excuses for why I couldn't do those things. Yet there were people around me who would get up every morning, people that I worked with who would get up every morning and go for a run. And I would tell myself I couldn't because I was out late, I'm tired, whatever. The time zone's different, so I'm thrown off. I had all these reasons why, like, I just would tell myself I couldn't do it. But so whatever those things are those excuses that we give ourselves or whatever, like how do you train people to like get back on track? Like, cause it's always going to happen, right? Like we're always going to have these seasons where we're just thrown off for whatever reason. So how do we continually like look at that North Star and get back on track?
Yeah, it's to find how can that be possible. Okay, you are traveling. How can that be possible? Can you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and do something, walk a little bit? Is that a way of doing that? Can you choose between meals, which is better? What is that possible? It's not to stick to your routine because you are not at home. Yeah, but what is possible?
Yeah.
And that is a better way of feeling good with ourselves. Okay, I'm not doing everything, but I do a half an hour. I'm not going as healthy as at home, but I'm choosing the snacks. Okay, so some micro decisions that allow you at least to feel good with yourself and to help your commitment to go a little further. Mm-hmm. Because there are invisible decisions. If I don't eat or I leave a piece of something in my plate, okay, tomorrow I'm not going to fit better in my slacks. No. But if I do everything every day that, I will fit in my slacks. Mm-hmm. So it's a better way to do that. Mm-hmm. So I want to make my clients aware of these small things that you can do. And you are not going to feel regret and have this inner voice that, okay, you forget about everything, you are not committed, you want it, but yeah, you can stop this inner dialogue that is so awful.
Yeah.
By doing.
Yeah. So we talk health, fitness, food, like those things are really easy to talk about because I think that's, a lot of people think of those things, right? Especially as we get older, things get, harder to, but whatever. But what are some of the other things that have come up that people identify that they want to change, especially executives, busy executives? Like, what are some of those things that you've experienced that people have said, like, this needs to change my life, and I need I need to work with you. I need this program in my life to fix that.
Yeah, balance, delegation.
Okay, I get that.
Okay.
What was the second one?
That is delegation.
Okay.
Managing your own capacity, have a different perspective about priorities, not being there for everything and everybody, being by the priorities of the work, giving space for rest and recovery, reducing stress and burnout, removing barriers and interference, connect in a different way with people, networking and relationship with other stakeholders and your own team. Communication is one of these biggest things. No matter how good I think I communicate, it's always this kind of capability that you need to improve. Really, you need to improve and need to be aware of the impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great list of things. I identified with many of those.
Sure.
Again, having come from a corporate background, and then, I just tend to be kind of a workaholic, and, sometimes I'm like, I am doing too many things. And I need to take a break or, whatever. So I think that probably that resonated with a lot of people. It's not just about, eating healthy or working out, but there's all these other things that impact our mental health, our happiness, if we kind of become aware of that, we can make some changes.
And busyness is something that we need to identify and to analyze. Because we love to be busy. We love to. It's a matter of, okay, I'm successful. I have so many things and I cover so many stuff. And it's not necessarily busyness, the one that will take you to a better life, professional and personal.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so Hilda, you mentioned to me before this show, I don't know if people can tell, but your English is not your first language, nope. But you challenged yourself to write this book in English. Or I say challenge, I don't know if it was a challenge for you, but
it was a huge one.
So tell me about that. You talked about the why kind of at the beginning, that you wanted to have more of a global impact, but so I'm curious why you didn't write it in Spanish and have it translated to English. Why did you choose to write in English first?
Actually, I struggle a little bit because I do have clients that understand English but not to read a book. I'm actually doing the opposite. I'm translating into Spanish the book, but I sat down for a year and I wrote the book. And well, I love big challenges, and that one was a big one. I love English, so it was also an important one. I have a book in Spanish I did in COVID times, and it was in my head. It was easy, and I don't have at that time so much work, so in 7 weeks I covered the book, and that one took me a whole year. And I needed to challenge my inner thoughts that in English, really, you talk Spanish. Why in English? Are you sure you are not going to listen as a Mexican talking in English? There are so many books in English, wonderful, and you want to put your book there. So I needed to deal with myself. And I needed to put a frame of mind, a mindset every morning, and decided that I wanted three personal resources: focus, to be fluent, and to enjoy. And joy was really a major part because I needed to silence my voice to enjoy what I was doing. And after that, I have two editors, and they put myself into so many questions, and I I did write a very good book, and I enjoy so much that I will put the book in Spanish. I'm in the journey. But I invite people in your audience that if they want to write a book, it's like setting the time and the date and the challenge, because I said, okay, at least 4 or 5 times a week I need to write 500 words, because in books that is a number that you can measure what you are doing. So I did that. So not for the future and for sometimes, because maybe that is never. So put yourself into it. Sit down. Make a brief of what can that be, and make some maps, and support yourself with a book coach, or the self-publishing school was the one that I hired for the process. And I enjoy very much the process, and I'm busy in other projects, but I will write again another book, and maybe I will do in English too.
Nice. Well, I love that. I'm jealous of your ability to do that. I studied Spanish in college, and I can get by, but I could not write a book in it. So someday,
someday, okay. Someday you need to put a date, because someday is not gonna happen. I can see that often.
Yep. But I love the goal of that 400 to 500 pages, or not pages, 400 to 500 words per day. And I think for anyone who takes that kind of approach, like just having a word count that you're shooting for every day or every weekday or however you approach it, and just just trying to hit that number each of those days. And if you have a day where you have a bad day, you go off track, you don't hit your goal, don't beat yourself up about it. Just get right back on it the next day and just keep going. And eventually, like you said, eventually that book will come together. You will have it. But if you keep saying to yourself, someday I'm going to write a book, it's not going to happen. So yes, good reminder on that, Hilda.
Yeah, it's a great reminder. And it's put yourself and hire somebody, or I did have an accountability partner. So my friend was writing her book. I was doing the same with my book. We put ourselves in Zoom. We set our challenge for the day, for the hour and a half that we save the space in agenda. And we said, okay, I want to write today maybe 700 words, or I want to review my chapter before going to the next one, or whatever. Yeah. And we silent the mic and we turn off the camera, and an hour, 20 minutes after that, we go back and we said, okay, I did 700 words or 900. I was so fluent today, and I could do this and that. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye. So to have an accountability partner helps a lot to write and to everything in life, to accomplish and to sustain.
I love that. So I have done accountability coaching with people writing books before, where we would meet every couple of weeks. We would set kind of a goal for that 2-week period, and then I was basically their person coming alongside them and saying, like, okay, did you hit this goal? But I love the idea of, if you know somebody who's already doing the same thing or who wants to do the same thing, just team up with that person, and that's even better. A free accountability partner who you're both invested in each other's success. So I love that. Well, Hilda, I will link to Power Up in the show notes. How else can readers or viewers find you online and learn more about what you're doing?
Sure. The book is on Amazon, and I in hildafainsod.com, and I'm in social media the same. So reach me, have a conversation, support yourself toward success, and that will be your best moment in life. Because when we have somebody to walk the journey becomes better, easier, or at least you feel that you have somebody in those times that you struggle to accomplish.
Love it. Thank you, Hilda. Thanks for coming on and sharing your book and your story with us. Congratulations on having that book written in English, and I can't wait to hear about when the Spanish version comes out.
Thank you very much, and I love to be in the conversation with you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Looking for a community of women writers to support and inspire you on your journey? Join the Author Power Circle. Connect weekly with fellow authors, stay accountable, and move your book forward in an encouraging community. Learn more at kellyschuknecht.com.